This episode is brought to you by Microsoft Azure. Turn your ideas into reality with an Azure free account. Get everything you need to develop apps across cloud and hybrid environments, scale workloads, create cloud-connected mobile experiences, and so much more. Discover what you can create with popular services free for 12 months. Learn more at azure.com. That's AZURE.com. And sign up for a free account to start building in the cloud today.
Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our Quick Publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Hello and welcome to Final Transfer Podcast of the Window. And of course, you know what that means. Lots and lots of news, right? Lots of things to tell you of last minute ventures and decidedly happy occasions. Well, we have some, and it is a little bit qualified. And the man who's going to talk us through it as ever is Mr. Dave Davis. There's not long left, Dave, and I think some people may have to let go of their hopes and dreams.
Yeah, I think if you have any hopes and dreams, let them go, people. Like, hope does not live here anymore. Like that line Python says, bring out your dead. Now is the time. It's barring anything a miracle. It's pretty much over, isn't it, Trev?
Well, look, we're going to talk in details about what got done and clarify any of the Mamardashvili stuff for people, the details. Of course, talk about Chiesa. We don't want to be coming across as stick in the muds who are not happy with the addition of a really quality footballer. That is not the point here. But just before we get into the individual deals and what has actually been done, we'll talk and we'll acknowledge the fact that, as you said, there are hours left and things could potentially happen. So we're not ruling anything out. We are, but we're not. We just want to get an overall feel for how you feel the window went. And I'm going to put myself on the line here first. And I'm going to say that, and I've said it out there today, just so everybody understands where we're at. The Mamardashvili thing is great business. The selling of all the players and making profit, great business. It's lovely. It's not any impact on a squad who could win a league. That's not joking. That's not fairy tales. We nearly got there last year. A couple of additions, the impetus of a new manager could really have pushed us over the edge. Nobody has gotten any way considerably better. We had the opportunity to do it. So we said, didn't we? Let's address the thing that we clearly wanted to address for several windows in a row. Let's finally do it. Let's give the new manager the chance that the old manager was not given. Let's get this high-profile specialist in that we need. Let's cover ourselves off in the defence. The fact that we are getting to within hours of it, and both of us would dearly love to be embarrassed, inverted commas, and eating humble pie tomorrow as we have to issue apologies. But the fact remains, Dave, that nothing has happened and it's not likely to at this point. And I have to say that overall, Chiesa or no Chiesa, it feels like a massive failure to me. I've already had the top Reds coming out, man. They're already coming out going, well, I'm happy with the squad. I like our players. Give the manager a chance. And I really don't know what's wrong with these people. You know, God love them. But I'm going to say, and I'm not trying to lure you into anything. I want you to give your own opinion as always. I'm going to say that for me, this is a tremendous disappointment. Of course, we'll get behind the team. Of course, we can still do it. But it feels like we've put ourselves behind the 8 ball for no reason.
Yeah, you can't argue with any of that. I think people like you, I've been getting comments going, "Oh, you've defended FSG and this." I'm like, what are you talking about? On the very start, the very first show, you asked the fair question of what are our expectations for the window, and we were pretty unanimous in, we'll judge it at the end, and here we are. This is what we want. We need a 6 badly. That's the one that shifts the needle. That's the big thing. It was proved last season. We wanted a left-sided defender. We then talk about, could we improve our attack and Luis Diaz's output? And we had those discussions earlier in the window, Trev. That was everything we had at the start. Oh, and by the way, people, we also said there's 3 superstars in the last 12 months. Get them done. That was what we said. There's no getting away from that. As we sit here today, 0 for 6. There's no DM. There's no left-footed defender. There's no... Now, I'll take Chiesa, I'll maybe give it a half. And I almost feel bad about Chiesa because we'll talk about that separately. But there is some positive there. None of the contracts are signed. Coupled with the fact, because we talk about Liverpool, we talk about the big prizes, do we not? And we miss that. It's like it's top 4 just become our aim. We like Arsenal when they were trying to build the Emirates all of a sudden. This was the opportunistic, that word, Trev. This was the opportunistic summer. This was the time because City have lost Alvarez and not really strengthened, haven't they? Arsenal, they didn't get the striker they wanted. Yes, there's like Caliphate. None of the big boys really went, did they, and went up a level. This was the summer where, and it even sounds worse because I'm saying this and this is factual, Liverpool sit in profit for this window by some considerable distance, just to be clear. This was the window where everyone knew, and especially because of who was leaving, the impact, how you could reassert yourselves, especially as the new boardroom people coming in. This was the summer. And if people doubt that, Trev, okay, Zubimendi was missed out on. I get what they tried to do there. But there was the time to go again. I keep hearing this, Zubimendi or no one. Are we telling me there's this one player, the Spanish international DM at Real Sociedad? He's the only player in the world that we can get that can move the needle. And before people start going, Tchouameni's unavailable, we've got all these analysts, but, all these people running the numbers, etc. I so struggled to believe that. No one started shouting, give me names. I'm not getting into that game. But it just feels really flat across the board. And it shouldn't do because it's been such a good start to the season on the pitch. But they've just done it again off it. Simple as that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. And listen, if it feels like we're framing it up in a negative way, let's just say Dave and I are getting that out of the way now. Now let's focus on what the business has been. We'll get back into some deals and we'll keep towing the party line that, hey, it's 5 o'clock. We've got 6. We've got 5 and a bit hours left. So, anything can happen, whatever. Let's start with the deals that were done. As we said, Mamardashvili doesn't turn the dial for us on this season. Federico Chiesa might. And it was that word, an opportunistic one, wasn't it, Dave? That's what this was. This was one of those, which is, to me, that right. This means that that's your bonus territory. Instead, it's being parceled up with the timing of it and packaged up as, look at what we did for you. And I think, that's disingenuous. However, as an opportunistic signing, I think this is wonderful. I think it has got a ton of upside. The figures make a lot of sense. And we have all these finalised deals where we can carry the 4 and balance that off against that. Put them in context for us, the outgoings on Mamardashvili and Chiesa versus what's come in. And talk to us about the business that we actually have seen. Solid business done by Liverpool in and out.
Yeah, it's funny that, isn't it, Trev? When we actually do business, we do it well. You've got to say that in all honesty. Mamardashvili, I think, I know it's at least a season, possibly 2, which we hope for as well, ahead. But it's good business. 25 million plus 4 million in add-ons. That is good business for a player that very much a lot of people around Liverpool suggesting could be that when Alisson was at Roma, that one ready to go and explode. It's, it's the success of being bought. That, to me, strikes as great business. There's so much to like about that guy, as we said before. Chiesa, Trev, I mean, the financials on this, it's a brilliant bit of business, just to be clear, people. 10 million plus 2.5 million add-ons. Now, these add-ons are based on the team performing as well, so winning trophies, going far in competition. So let's hope we pay, £12.5 million. Yeah. That's a brilliant deal. Let's be clear on that. And even the suggestions, there's a few reported, he's taken a big wage cut as well, Trev. A really big wage cut to come here. The reports saying around some 80 to 90,000 a week, speaking to different journos and people. So that is a big positive. And we've seen his interview. He comes across as hungry, enthusiastic, desperate to be here. And by the way, we actually have realistic for cover now, a rotational option on the right-hand side for Salah, and potentially more if he can get back, to where let's not underplay that at all. £10 million is buttons in football terms. It really is, like absolutely nothing in Premier League football terms. So I love that deal. I love his pace is still there. I think it could be exciting. I love the fact we've got 6 attackers. I actually can say it's what's my ultimate positive from the window. I think we've now got the best attack in the Premier League.
Yes,
I mean that seriously, because Alvarez is gone, who was a great backup. If Haaland goes, you have questions below that a little bit. How City would set up, don't you? I'm not saying they've not got great players, but I really think now, with our options, we have the best attack in the Premier League. And again, it's trying not to come back to the negative, but when Hughes and Edwards have dealt, they've dealt really well. Just not dealt enough.
That's it. Remind people, just as a kind of a tot up for those who are, amateur accountants, of what we've had come in, just the totals and what it amounts to.
Yeah, all in, and obviously there's been bits where we'll already have release clauses or sort of stipulations. So, for instance, when we got 25%, we do owe Zole a part of that. When we got the money for Carvalho, naturally a portion of that goes to Fulham as well. But all totaled in, you're talking roughly about £67.5 million, Trev. That's what Liverpool cleared, roughly. And again, there's bits still happening today, which we'll come to as well. You don't know if they'll bank a loan fee. Loan fee is also suggested to happen for Stefan Bajcetic as well, so that's at least going to go in the plus column. Now, if you think of the outgoing, before add-ons, 25 million for Mamardashvili, 10. So we're talking, we'll go in a positive net spend, even though we won't see it as positive, of around £30 million plus. Now, those are public report figures. So, there's always someone's going to say, I've heard this. We're rounding, we're giving averages, people here. Don't get me wrong at all. But there is zero doubt Liverpool are finishing this window, unless something happens in these next few hours, on a minus net spend. Those net spend boys are not going to be quiet tonight.
Not, and it was notable that there was some hope about the Alan Varela release clause being triggered, and straight away when there was dreams of that yesterday evening with only a day left, you had bad news Jimbo Pierce coming out and pouring cold water all over it. But of course, then, people were doing double guessing and going, well, he's usually wrong, so hopefully that's a good sign, and et cetera, et cetera. I think at this stage with, like I said, just about 5.5 hours left, it does feel as though this is where any of those hopes come to die. Let's talk about what else might still be happening by way of traffic, because like you said, there are lots of loans going on. Whether they are of any interest to us financially or not is neither here nor there. But what is of interest to us is the amount of lads who are heading off. I'm going to guess that you don't see any last-minute exits for high profilers like Joe Gomez, but I'm interested to hear what your wrap-up is. So let's take the people that we know are pretty much done. Obviously, Vandenberg, Clark, out the gap. But what are the loans that we know, and what are the current statuses of those loans? Because they don't seem to be finalised quite yet, which is a little bit odd. It's getting quite late in the day.
No, maybe the clubs at the other end are waiting to make it their headline of the day. Who knows? But yeah, Stefan Bajcetic, he was all set for his reunion with Uncle Pep, wasn't he, at Salzburg? Then a weird thing happened that he got Luis Diaz-Atitis, didn't he? Because Barcelona made an inquiry for him, and Stefan Bajcetic's dad spoke on Spanish radio about how he wants to play in a big club. I was like, oh God, this is a bit deja vu, isn't it? But all reports are that Stefan Bajcetic is in Salzburg, as we say. It's all just waiting to be confirmed, and Liverpool will bank a loan fee. But like you said, Trev, not confirmed as of yet. Tyler Morton, I mean, this has been linked with a permanent move all window, hasn't he? Everyone's like, it's just waiting to happen when we go back from America. And then even this week, it was Leverkusen are in, and they'll do a loan with an option or an obligation, it's being argued. And then all of a sudden, yesterday, all negotiations off. Tyler Morton is staying. To be honest, Trev, we should have probably got the hint. Tyler Morton is the snakes cover there, really, shouldn't we, in all honesty? But yeah.
Let's talk about that for 1 sec, because you flagged it up there. And I've already seen it parceled up and packaged up by guys who have FSG in their bio on Twitter, who are saying, there you go, tailor-made. We've got Tyler Morton. The disingenuousness of that is beyond my comprehension. We have a player who we've patently been shopping around. That does not make him suddenly an asset when he becomes available. Unless you're an ideologue or blinded by some kind of daft loyalty or daft forced optimism. It makes no sense, Dave.
I don't need a VPN. I've got nothing to hide. This is what I used to tell myself before I hooked up with LibertyShield.com. Not only is my home internet now fully encrypted, but I can now access all the websites I want, whenever I want, and do so from absolutely anywhere. As a Liverpool fan, I love to know I can now watch every match, regardless of whether it's on UK TV or not. My Liberty Shield VPN makes sure nothing is blocked and guarantees me super fast streaming speed throughout that match. You can get connected right now with their software package, which includes a 48-hour no-obligation free trial and instant access to their apps for Apple, Android, Fire TV, PC, Mac and Android TV. Or go a step further like I have and get one of their pre-configured VPN routers. These small but powerful devices allow you to easily connect every device in your home to VPN, making it the perfect solution for smart TVs, Mac boxes and games consoles. Visit LibertyShield.com today and use coupon code AIVPN25 to get 25% off at checkout.
No, we're talking about a player who, like you said, has been shopped around, who actually, from our understanding from talks with the club, it was a happy agreement. He wanted to move on to play regular football. He knew he needed that step in the next stage of his career. He'd had those talks with the club. He wasn't going to get it under Arne Slot. Just made sense for everyone. It was going to be a nice 20 million in the bank. And we talked to clubs like in the Premier League, Southampton asked, Wolves asked, as we said last week. We know Leipzig, as Paul Joyce reported, were leading the race at one time. We know that Leverkusen were trying to get it done as well. Like, we were quite happy for this to happen. So you can't now start pretending like, no, this was the right thing to do. I like Tyler Morton. He's got a lot of assets, but let's not start pretending he was wanted by Arne Slot. We have to be honest about this. Yeah, like you said, Joe Gomez. I mean, the latest we had on Joe Gomez was even yesterday, the club gave him a deadline, Trev. I.e., we know you're looking to move, obviously, ever since that story came out, didn't it, at the start of summer, but we need to get a replacement. And for whatever reason, it's just not happened. And there's no way he's going at this time without a replacement, is he? Trev, free the big one. Nat Phillips is on his way to Derby County on loan. Now, just to give you an idea of how depressing this is, Liverpool turned down a £4 million bid at the start of this window for Nat Phillips. He's now on his way for a loan with Derby County. And by the way, I know I could be saying that and people were going, he's besmirched of big Nat Phillips. That's not a dig at him at all, but I think it just says how bad a decision that was to turn down the $4 million and look at where he's ended up. But big Nat, bless him, he's going. Young Scanlon, he's going on loan to Millwall, that's confirmed. And now, Trev, there's a couple of things going on. It's all about where in the Championship do these kids go, because Middlesbrough and Hull, they're fighting over Ben Doak. Cade Gordon, Swansea still trying, but it doesn't look likely. Norwich looks like his latest destination as well, so we're expecting those loan moves to get confirmed. And then even some weird ones yesterday. I think it's just too late. Queven Kelleher, an absolute joke of an offer from Nottingham Forest came. Everyone knows his price tag, 25 million, will probably accept less. Nottingham Forest came in we were told around 13 million quid plus Matt Turner, their American backup keeper, who is absolutely, me and you are better than Matt Turner, put it that way, just to give it in football terms in the nets for, as Liverpool. So an absolute joke of an offer. So again, people are like, maybe Kelleher goes before the deadline. There's nothing confirmed before this, as it stands, Simicast rumours and all that. But I can't actually believe I'm saying this to you, Trev, in terms of exits. We are set to finish this window, bearing in mind what we discussed at the start of it, with Kelleher, Gomez, Simicast, Diaz, and Endo all still at this football club. And for the record, that's not digging out those players, but there's a mix of players who wanted to leave. Slot doesn't feel they're good enough, but here we are.
Now, he does have a little bit of, I guess he's wielded his own sort of authority in terms of moving out a lot of the Klopp kids, either on loan or permanently away. And that's interesting. And it speaks to a man who's looking to build his own thing, or a guy who isn't as emotionally invested in some of these kids as Klopp was, and a management team, more to the point, who are looking at the hard facts of bottom lines. But you just said it, and it's a glaring sort of what the hell is going on there with the Nat Phillips thing. Because I was jokingly saying about Phillips today and say, let him go and free Nat and stuff like that. But some people were saying back to me, like, he's chosen money and mercenary attitude over a career. He's happy to hang around and pick up a paycheck from Liverpool, whatever. And listen, maybe there is something to that. And like, it's a far be it from me to be worried about Nat Phillips' financial situation. That's not my point. But my point is, to your point, is how do we turn down that amount of money and then say, you know what, you can go on loan to Derby, and by the time you come back, your contract will nearly be out, so you'll be able to walk then. I'm at a loss. Where's the hard-nosed business sense behind that one?
No idea at all. Especially in terms of the business they've done this summer has been good. Even with, the suggestions were where his contract renewed back a good few years ago was around sort of 50, 60 grand a week he went up to. So even just that 4 million back, Trev, it's the backing weight. It just makes absolutely zero sense, doesn't it? It's a player that I know a lot of people adore. I get why, not trying to belittle him at all, but isn't good enough for Liverpool. Wanted to get first team football elsewhere. Everyone wanted it to depart in a nice manner, and they've just not done that.
We just should have a wrap-up sentence. I feel like I feel like I've been very negative about it. I'm very high on the Chiesa thing, probably higher than I should be given his injury record. Like you, I believe when you look at it, it was kind of a glaring contrast photo showed the attack from the end of the Rodgers reign to now. And you do have to say it's amazing that we can say objectively this might well be the best attack in the Premier League. Two excellent players for every position, two players who would be first teamers at most of the Premier League clubs. That's a wonderful thing to be able to say. And I don't want to make it seem as if I'm not excited about that. I thoroughly am excited about it, and I think he may make a real difference if he can keep his fitness. It's something to be excited about for sure. But like we can't bury our head in the sand, and just like this is why, just to sign off before we move away from Liverpool, because sadly that's what we're doing. That's what we have to do now, because we have no big last minute story to tell you like we would. And the Chiesa one, for all its upside, is not the thing that we were hoping we'd have to tell you. So it does feel a little bit like the head has been buried in the sand, and you can listen to people justify it all you want. They can talk about waiting for the right one. To me, it feels a little bit like I said earlier on, like an ideological stance. Like I am going to go and put my colours on the mast marked positivity, and I'm a proper fan, and let's give everyone a chance. There are very few more positive fans than you and I. I think we're kind of almost daftly optimistic, the two of us, in terms of both the transfer market and our club. But we have to be honest, Dave, and say, overall, if you're going to rate that at 10, it's barely a 5.
Yeah, I don't think a 5 would be generous, to be honest, as well, based on what the targets were at the start. It really would. Yeah, I agree, Trev, and I get all points of view. I don't want to belittle the Chiesa thing at all, because every time I think, oh God, what we've done wrong, we've not got this, I just crack out a bit of Chiesa YouTube content and watch him burning fullbacks down the thing and flipping by and looking. He doesn't need a new knee. He's made of fucking titanium, this boy. He's excitable, and his big handsome chops and his big smile, and he's giving it a love it hit. And by the way, he speaks better English than Darwin, and he's been here 10 seconds. So I'm loving that content. We're loving his interview. It's all positive. There's no doubts about it at all. You can acknowledge that. What you can acknowledge is it's been a brilliant signing of Chiesa. It's a smart move for Marmadashvili, and it's been a terrible window at the same time. All three of those things can be true, people. Nothing's binary in that regard as well. I hope, and just in case I was thinking we're negative, me and Trev were saying this, and I know I'm speaking for both of us, I hope this gets smashed down our throats so far when the Reds win 67-0 every single game this season in all competitions. I hope we're saying Ryan Gravenberch, that was the 6 all along. The whole of AI is eating humble pie over this type of thing. Nunes bags, Chiesa rotational, Andy Robertson, McLazarus from the death comes back and shows everything. I'm desperate for all that to be true. It's not about being cynical. It's just about, as Roy Walker would tell you, say what you see. And it just feels like we can't get away from that phrase, especially because of how close we were and what was needed. And the other two, and we have to talk about the big prizes because that's what we're here for. City and Arsenal really didn't get what they wanted in the window either. It just comes under the missed opportunity file.
Feels like it, man. Feels like it. We will just also hold on to the tiniest shred of completely illogical hope that something may pop up in the last couple of hours. I say that, I'm not really holding on to it, but I want it to be said out loud in case there's anybody who's going to be upset that we haven't. Now, whereas we've been struggling to do the kind of business we want to do, other clubs have not been struggling to do business. Whether it's good business or not is neither here nor there because it's other clubs and we don't really care. They're just there to entertain us. Let's start with how Chelsea have always entertained us in every transfer window, every show that we've done. Almost each show there's been a Chelsea story. They are an amazing source of content for us, and they continue to be because God love us. They've been linked with another high-profile striker. They've been linked with all sorts of weird swap deals and lads out, high-profile lads out. Maresca seems to be taking notions about who's in and who's out each week and each day. He's completely ignoring half of his squad who apparently are over there beyond his line of sight and aren't real. High-profile lads like Kepa at one point are now looking for slightly more humble places to operate. And they've even been linked with the likes of Ivan Toney, who I think we'll speak about a little bit later on. They're a delightful basket case. Talk to us about Chelsea, Dave.
God bless Sweeney Todd. God bless Chelsea's transfer team. You can hate the club, quite rightly, but you can't just, as we do this show, be anything but excited when you hear more Chelsea news. I'd be lying if I said anything different. It's absolutely brilliant. Even notifications coming through to show this is a proper deadline day. He was just popped up on my screen. Trev, Liverpool have confirmed Stefan Bajcetic now has joined Red Bull Salzburg in the last few seconds. And as it even pops up, Chelsea have presented 3 bids for Jadon Sancho to Manchester United of all different levels of loan, just loan with option, so that's an idea. But they're trying to get Victor Osimhen still. They're battling against the Saudi side and trying to get it done, obviously, with their financial issues. So that one looks like it's going to go right to the death. Lukaku, done. We know he's taken his chips and moved to Napoli, so now it's Conte's job to get him into shape, which should be fun. Raheem Sterling. I mean, Raheem Sterling, if you wanted any doubt of how much Chelsea don't want him, they've offered him to United in the swap deal and Arsenal. They're still trying to get Raheem Sterling. Now, Raheem Sterling, I don't ever think there would be a scenario where I would be defending Raheem Sterling in any way, but this transfer window's kind of become Inception, Trev. We've almost eaten ourselves a little bit, as it were. But Raheem Sterling saying, well, no, you owe me all this money on my contract at 300 grand a week. What's happening with that before I do anything, and all that. So that could well run right to the deadline as well. Obviously, we said about Jadon Sancho, because obviously, if you look at Chelsea, I look and I analyse that squad and I go, they're lacking in wingers there, Trev. There's nothing wide as for them. So obviously, that's where they need reinforcements, isn't it? In that sense. Disasi, honestly, load of journos said to us this week, keep an eye on Disasi. Emperor Maresca just thinks he's a big donkey, basically, and doesn't want him at all. And he's not been in the squad for the last few, but it's too late in the window, isn't it? So there you go. Kepa has gone on a season-long loan to Bournemouth, which was worry for them because it only left them with the 6 goalkeepers when you top up the squad that way as well. So there's that. Tony, they were even looking at him. That doesn't look possible. Like you said, we'll come back to Ivan Toney. Palace have made a late move for Trevor Chalobah. We'll talk about Palace, but that's still being looked into. In the deal of the window, Chelsea bought David Washington, the Brazilian youngster, for about £16 million last summer, and they're selling them to Strasbourg for about £21 million. What a deal that is. So I think Todd's just got his phone out and go, shall I sell to myself? I think I will. Let's press the transfer button. Like, it's just between clubs, Trev. And it only gets better because I can bet you can guess whether young keeper Petkovic is on his way to on loan by sounds as well. Yeah, a loan fee bank as he heads to Strasbourg. We're selling to ourselves. What business that is. I mean, aside from all that, we've laughed and laughed all this summer about them selling a training ground to ourselves. We've laughed and laughed about them selling the hotel to themselves. We've laughed and laughed about them selling the women's team to themselves as well to help do all that. UEFA aren't laughing, by the way, Trev. There was quite a few exclusives this week that, as a couple of journalists phrased it, Chelsea will face a strong challenge to convince UEFA of the validity of these transfers. Yes, I do like Chelsea's accountants because they're good at getting through the loopholes of the Premier League, aren't they? With those old 8-9 year contracts before that got shut down, and selling a hotel before that got shut down as well. But UEFA are not buying it. Now, this might just be the big crescendo before death. And the reason I say that, Trev, is there's a lot of suspicion with various journos that this might be it for Chelsea, that because of the Abramovich charges and because of this accounting and because UEFA are involved, don't be surprised if it's something like a 2 or 3 year transfer ban for Chelsea after this one, realistically. So maybe they might just go out with an almighty crescendo. But I can't believe I'm defending Chelsea of any type. But if there's one club to watch right up to 11 p.m. tonight, it's those boys at Stamford Bridge.
Hey guys, it's Eddie Gibbs from Anfield Index here. I hope you're enjoying this podcast, and I'm sorry to call time on the show before it ends. In the current climate, it's tougher than ever before to offer podcasts for free. At Anfield Index, we produce over 75 free shows every month, which I'm confident is unparalleled in the LFC sphere. Whilst we'd love to offer everything for free, the production costs now make this impossible. That said, we don't want to follow the model of other channels and lock all of our content behind a paywall. So what we've decided to do is to continue offering every show for free, but cut that offering to 30 minutes on our longer shows. So to get all of our shows in full and enjoy the best of everything we have to offer, we really hope you'll consider supporting the channel and signing up at AnfieldIndexPro.com. For about the price of 1 cup of coffee, you'll get every podcast in full with 0 ads. You'll also get access to our LFC VIP community, where you can enjoy live podcasts, engage with our podcasters, and chat with other Reds in real time. So that website again, AnfieldIndexPro.com. Join today.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.